President Biden's time in office has sparked a lot of debate. From policy decisions to personal habits, every aspect of his presidency has been under scrutiny. One hot topic that has caught the public's attention: his vacation days. The amount of time a president spends away from the White House has always been a point of interest, but with Biden, it seems to have reached a new level of scrutiny. A recent study claims Biden took 577 vacation days in his first 4 years. This figure has been making headlines and has become a focal point for both his supporters and critics. This number has surprised many. It's a figure that seems almost unbelievable at first glance, leading to a flurry of reactions from the public and media alike. But is it accurate? To truly understand the implications of this number, we need more context. How was this data collected, and what criteria were used to define a vacation day? This study has ignited a firestorm of criticism. Social media is abuzz with opinions, and newsrooms are filled with heated debates. Some argue that the number is inflated, while others believe it highlights a significant issue. Some people question if the number is misleading. They argue that without understanding the methodology behind the study, it's hard to take the figure at face value. They say it's important to look at how the data was collected. Were all days away from the White House counted as vacation days, or were there distinctions made between working trips and personal time off? How were vacation days defined? The term vacation can be subjective. For some, it means complete disconnection from work, while for others, it might mean working remotely from a different location. Did the study only count full days, or did it include partial days too? Understanding these nuances is crucial to interpreting the data accurately. We need to look closely at how this information was gathered. Only by examining the methodology can we determine the validity of the study's claims. Only then can we judge if the criticism is fair. It's essential to approach such claims with a critical eye and not jump to conclusions based on headline numbers alone. The presidency is a demanding job. The responsibilities are immense and the pressure is constant. Balancing work and personal time is a challenge for anyone, let alone the leader of a nation. But everyone needs time to rest and recharge. Even presidents need moments to step back, reflect, and rejuvenate. It's a matter of maintaining mental and physical health to perform their duties effectively. Did President Biden take too much time off, or is this just a political attack? The debate continues, and opinions remain divided. What is clear, however, is that the conversation around presidential vacation days is far from over. As we delve deeper into the data and the context, we may find that the truth lies somewhere in between the extremes. To understand the debate, let's look back at past presidents. How does Biden's time off compare to his predecessors? George W. Bush spent considerable time at his Texas ranch. Obama faced criticism for his golf outings. Clinton, H.W. Bush, Reagan, Carter. They all took breaks from the Oval Office. Even Trump, who criticized others for golfing, spent many days at his own properties. The presidency is a 24/7 job, but every president needs time to unwind. The real question is whether Biden's time away significantly differed from the norm. Biden's critics have seized on this vacation data, using it as a focal point for their arguments. They call him Sleepy Joe and question his work ethic, suggesting that his frequent breaks are a sign of his inability to handle the pressures of the presidency. Critics argue that he's not up to the demands of the job, pointing to his age and perceived lack of energy as evidence. These criticisms often rely on the 577-day figure, painting it as evidence of laziness and a lack of commitment to the role. However, is this a fair assessment? The presidency is unlike any other job, with unique demands and responsibilities that extend beyond the traditional office setting. The presidency is a demanding job, but it's also different from any other. Presidents are always on call, even when not in the Oval Office. Presidents are always on call, even when not in the Oval Office. They receive briefings, make phone calls, and deal with crises no matter where they are. They receive briefings, make phone calls, and deal with crises no matter where they are. The modern presidency is a 24/7 job with no true off days. Historically, presidents have always taken time away from the White House, whether it's at Camp David, their personal homes, or other retreats. This time away is often used for strategic planning and recuperation. Experts argue that rest and recuperation are essential for maintaining high performance in any demanding role. The same applies to the presidency. President Biden, like his predecessors, continues to work diligently. balancing the need for rest with the relentless demands of leading a nation. Supporters argue that the Sleepy Joe narrative is a misrepresentation, emphasizing his decades of public service and commitment to the country. Despite the criticisms, Biden's tenure has seen significant achievements, from legislative successes to moments of decisive leadership. The debate over Biden's work ethic and the Sleepy Joe moniker continues, reflecting the broader political divide in the country. In the end, the presidency is a complex and demanding role, and the true measure of a president's effectiveness goes beyond the number of days spent in the office. The debate will likely continue, but it's clear that the role of the president is far more nuanced than any nickname can capture. The Republican National Committee, RNC, released a report highlighting Biden's vacation days. They argue that he's been absent for a significant portion of his presidency. The report has been widely shared, further fueling the debate. The RNC report claims to use publicly available data to reach its conclusions. However, the methodology has been questioned by some. Critics argue that the report cherry-picks information and presents it in a misleading way. Section 5 Snopes investigates. Fact-checking the claims. The fact-checking website Snopes investigated the claims about Biden's vacation days. They found that the 577-day figure is misleading. Snopes argues that the RNC report doesn't accurately reflect the reality of Biden's schedule. Snopes points out that presidents often work even when not in Washington, D.C. They may receive briefings, make phone calls, and hold meetings while traveling. The RNC report doesn't account for these activities. Section 6. Working vacations, Camp David and Delaware. President Biden frequently spends time at Camp David, the presidential retreat in Maryland. He also travels to his home in Delaware. Critics argue that these trips are vacations. However, the White House insists that Biden continues to work during these trips. They point out that he receives briefings, makes calls, and meets with advisors. The nature of the presidency means that work doesn't stop, even when the president is away from the Oval Office. Section 7. The cost of getaways, Delaware versus Mar-a-Lago. Another point of contention is the cost of Biden's trips to Delaware. Critics compare these trips to Trump's visits to Mar-a-Lago, his resort in Florida. They argue that Biden's trips are also costly for taxpayers. However, there's a key difference. Trump's trips to Mar-a-Lago often involved promoting his business, which raised ethical concerns. Biden's trips to Delaware are to his private residence, and there's no evidence of personal enrichment.
I feel nauseous, believe me.
Section 8. Clocking in. Biden's work hours examined. Defenders of President Biden argue that focusing on vacation days misses the bigger picture. They say it's more important to look at his overall work ethic and accomplishments. They point to his long hours and dedication to the job. They argue that he's constantly engaged in meetings, phone calls, and policy discussions. They say he's a workaholic who's committed to serving the country. They believe the criticism of his vacation time is unfair and politically motivated. Section 9. The Presidency Balancing Act or 24/7's job. The debate over President Biden's vacation days highlights the challenges of balancing the demands of the presidency with personal life. The role of the President of the United States is one of the most demanding jobs in the world. It requires constant attention, decision-making, and the ability to handle crises at any moment. Yet, like any other human being, the president also needs time to rest, recuperate, and spend with family. The job is incredibly demanding, but presidents are also human beings who need time to rest and recharge. The physical and mental toll of the presidency can be immense. Long hours, high-stress situations, and the weight of national and international responsibilities can wear down even the most resilient individuals. Taking time off is not just a luxury. It is a necessity for maintaining overall health and effectiveness in the role. There's no easy answer to the question of how much vacation time is appropriate. Each president has their own way of managing their time and responsibilities. Some may choose to take shorter, more frequent breaks, while others might prefer longer periods of rest. The key is finding a balance that allows them to perform their duties effectively while also taking care of their personal well-being. It's important to consider the context, including the president's work ethic, the nature of the job, and the historical precedents. Looking back at previous presidents, We see a variety of approaches to vacation time. Some, like Franklin D. Roosevelt, took frequent trips to his home in Hyde Park, while others, like George W. Bush, spent time at his ranch in Texas. Each president's approach reflects their personal needs and the demands of their time in office. Ultimately, it's up to the American people to decide whether they believe their president is effectively managing their time and responsibilities. Public perception plays a significant role in this debate. Voters expect their president to be dedicated and hardworking, but they also understand the importance of rest and recovery. As citizens, we must consider the broader picture and recognize that a well-rested president is better equipped to lead the nation effectively. The balance between work and personal time is crucial for anyone, especially for those in such a high-stakes position.